This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe, and let's get right into the news. Well, before we get into the current news for the day, this is kind of current. Both of them are, but it's kind of more of a discussion now. Bimie. If you don't know who Bimie is, you've heard of Supreme Team. Supreme Team allegedly worked with Irv Gotti a lot in the beginning of his career and had something to do with his success. Something, okay? And we all know Supreme from 50 Cent having a beef with him, all right? Very public beef. And Supreme's been locked up forever, okay? I think he got released in 92, violated, and went back to jail early 2000s. Now, Bimie was in Supreme Team and since the 80s, and he was very young when he joined, and he was like the younger guy, and Supreme was his elder. And now a documentary comes out 40 years later of Bimie being a part of Supreme Team, that he was a confidential CI the whole time. Now, if Supreme knew this, being locked up, why didn't he say anything? Well, Wack 100 explored this in a one-on-one with them. And he basically, I'll just summarize it for you. There was paperwork. There was paperwork on raids that were done on Supreme Team houses. One Bimie was in and got arrested and released later because they got bailed out. There was raids on a few other houses. People got arrested, released. When Supreme went to jail, his partner, I think his name is Prince, and Bimie ran things. And Bimie said he stopped hustling before 92, before when Supreme came home. He got out the game because he was getting more into music. He was hanging out with Run DMC and everything in the 80s, and he got more into music. And Bimie is a figure in the music business, okay? He worked at Def Jam. He did stuff with Irv Gotti, a lot of stuff, all right? And now he's being painted as a snitch in this new documentary, the Supreme documentary. And it doesn't make sense. People have been trying to paint him as a snitch. I think Zip with the Drip is the first person to put it out. And, you know, I'm not going against Zip with the Drip. Zip with the Drip is entitled to his opinion and his allegations. He has his own reasoning. The Supreme Truth is out. I suggest you watch it. Bimie even suggested people watch it. He has a loyalty to Supreme regardless. He says, please go out and support the doc. I'm so happy I can help your money, Mike G. Free the real. Oh, one more thing. Show the work. 50 Cent always gave Supreme credit for not telling on anybody. Now, Bimie is in question, but there's no paperwork pointing to Bimie as a snitch or a CI anywhere. And that's what's kind of not fair about this, because usually you have to have the paperwork. So Wack 100 does defend him in this, and Bimie does have a lot of music business friends, you know, that will defend him in this. I know Bimie, not personally, but we've talked multiple times on the phone. There's a mutual respect between Bimie and I. You know, he's done what he's done in the music business. I've done what I've done in the music business with music videos, World Star, everything, you know? So there's just a mutual respect. Bimie's a stand-up guy. He's cool, you know? So it's kind of sad to have his character assassinated by really Prince and Supreme's son, who put out this documentary. But really, who cares? There's no paperwork. There's no point blank that Bimie was a snitch. And it's coming out 40 years later, most likely because Supreme's admitted this. He feels like Bimie never sent him any money. And Bimie says, I didn't send him any money. I was young when I joined Supreme Team. I didn't feel like I was indebted to him for life, sending him money. And yeah, I'm guilty of that. I haven't supported him and sent him a lot of money. Okay. So he admits his faults. What more do you want? What more do you want? But now there is no money. And, you know, they look at Bimie's lifestyle. He's driving a Rolls Royce. He's flying around the world. He's hanging out with rappers, as he's been doing since the 80s, you know. And it's more of a jealousy thing. that Supreme and the others feel like they were left behind. And that's that, you know? So I don't think, I can't say Bimie's a snitch, you know? Like, I don't see any paperwork, you know? There's this new thing that certain people do. Like, they're trying to call Pooh Shiesty a snitch. Where's the paperwork? Where is it? What, because he came home after 2 to 3 years? Man, so a lot of people come home after 2 to 3 years and they say nothing. But they pick and choose who they want to label a snitch, you know? I don't know. Anyways, go watch that documentary. Then we got Max Beast coming home, right? Now, Stack Bundles died around 2006. I knew Stack Bundles. I worked with Stack Bundles. Stack Bundles was cool. Around the time Stack Bundles died, I just know that this was going on, all right? He was owed money from work he did on Ballin' and a bunch of other stuff on that album, right? Yes, he did make money with Jim Jones. He went on tour with Jim Jones. He had cars. He spent money on cars and all that. And maybe Stack Bundles, being young, because we were young and I made a lot of stupid mistakes around that time too, because I was making money doing DVDs and music videos back then. And, you know, I bought a car before doing a lot of other stuff, you know? And Stack Bundles did the same. He had a 2-tone BMW. I think he had one other car. But he was still living in, I think it was Redfern housing, but he was out in Far Rockaway, right? And he had issues with people, especially when you make it. When you're in music videos like Ballin', which is a hit record and everything, and you're going back to Far Rockaway, it's not a good look. People want to kill you for no reason, okay? If you make it anywhere, you can't really go home for a while. You know, you got to go in and out. It can't be somewhere where you live. You can't live where everything started, especially in the hood, right? Because there's a lot of jealousy and hatred. And I think Stack Bundles did want to move out, but he didn't have the money to do it the way he wanted to do it. Now, Jim Jones tells the story of how he tried to move Max B, Mel Matrix, and Stack Bundles into a house in Jersey. But I don't think they wanted to go on those terms. He was trying to make it like it's a bunkhouse, you know, when Stack Bundles and Max B wrote a lot of Jim Jones' stuff, allegedly, okay? They allegedly wrote a lot of Jim Jones' stuff, and they felt like they were owed a lot more, you know? They wanted their own place, right? At least an apartment. So Max B left first because when his trial came up, and he had to get lawyers. Jim Jones gave him a small amount to contribute to the lawyers, but he was really owed more money. Somebody else, I'm not going to say the person's name, had to contribute the rest of the money to get a lawyer. And the lawyer wasn't even that good. He couldn't afford the best lawyer, and that's why he got 75 years to begin with, right? Stack Bundles wasn't able to move and actually got killed in his lobby. Is it Jim Jones's fault? No, but he, you know, maybe it's Koch's. Maybe it's whoever was distributing the money's fault. I don't know, you know? And I don't know the accounting of that. I just can tell you that people felt like they weren't getting paid properly off of Jim Jones being a superstar at that time independently. There should have been a lot more money floating around. Maybe there was mismanagement of money on their ends. I don't know. But all I know is the only person that could really, truly tell that story is Mel Matrix, but really Max B, because Max B is a contributor. Mel Matrix is like Jim Jones's blood friend, who actually supposedly has problems with him right now, because he's not really looking at how he got released and how he was received at home the best, you know? So, anyways, Max B comes home. Jim Jones is obviously concerned, because, first of all, there has to be some truth to Max B saying because he touched it in Miami, because it seems like if it wasn't true, he would just brush it off. But it seems like maybe something crazy happened. Maybe a night of, you know, too much Patron or something happened and something got touched in Miami. But pause. Max B's coming home, trying to have peace, but it seems like Jim Jones still wants war. But I think that Jim Jones is also trying to keep that energy so that maybe he can have a moment on his podcast, because now he's a podcaster because he's gone triple plastique 2 times, and he's kind of realized that music won't be the bread and butter, and he's got to kind of follow trend and start a podcast like everybody else that's older rapper. Anyways, that's what I got to say about that. This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Let me know what you think about everything that's going on out here, and I'll check you guys the next one. Peace.